A debutee from the days of Medarot 9, this Shrike type soars through the air, impaling her targets and making them feel as much pain as feasibly possible. It is MOZ00 Stabshrike, with a kit of triple pile, light legs, and the leg ability of Bloodstain, which buffs base power for every part broken when attacking a target. Now, as a previous event reward, Stabshrike is a model that not a lot of new players may recognize, but for veterans been playing longer than, say, 1 or 2 years, may or may not already have her. And if you have not raised her yet, my first question to you is why not? Because this incredibly well-versed melee model is very aggressive, very mean, and equally as powerful if used correctly in the right hands. Pile on all 3 parts is a conventional melee skill that is arguably one of the best well-rounded melee skills too, as it packs not only passive pierce damage, but also has defense ignore, which means that upon attacking a target, you will outright ignore a portion of, if not all of, their resist stat when attacking them. This means that every hit you land will be as painful as it can feasibly get, no questions asked, period, point blank, which makes Stabshrike an incredibly versatile and powerful asset to any team that needs melee-based parts, especially given the fact that she is also a female model, where a lot of powerful nuke parts like Pile are very difficult to find and very few and far between. Light legs also means that she will have very high base mobility and not, I'd say, mixed range coverage when it comes to terrain compatibility, but this is also essentially a hint to say that she will be light on the armor and the damage reduction, despite what she can pack herself. When it comes to armor, she is packing about 30,000 for the head, arms about 2,800 each, and her legs also at 3,000. The legs are, the head and leg aren't too shabby, and the arms are definitely in that mid-tier where females tend to be at, but the armor really isn't half the reason she's here. Even if Stabshrike is designed to be a glass cannon, she makes every hit land, and she's going to make it a point, pun intended, to make it as painful as possible and every hit made the most worthwhile. And even then, her base power is moderately impressive too across all 3 parts, with her head packing about just over mid 1100, the right arm at just over 1030, and the left arm at almost 1300. But it's also worth noting that she has success stats on all 3 parts as well as over 1,000, which means that unless the foe has something like Conceal or an evade stat of over 2k, she's probably going to land the hit, or even if they graze it, she is going to hit them, regardless of if they want her to or not. Her leg stats honestly are kind of to be expected of a flight-legged model like her, so that she is going to be pretty light on the armor, but she does have very high base mobility and evade. Her base mobility is packing 907, which is very, very nice, and again, par for the course for flight legs. An evade of 1794, almost 1800, is very good though, as this does mean she will be able to dodge or graze a pretty fair amount of incoming blows to keep her damage as low as possible. That, unfortunately, going forward, is where she unfortunately falls flat, because she is packing a melee resist of 749 and a shoot resist of an abysmal 457. This means that she literally has paper armor in this case, and she has basically no defense of being able to protect herself from anything that comes her way. In addition, because she is a flight-legged model, this does also mean she is subject to the anti-air weakness, so anyone that is packing it, such as Sonic Stag or Luminous Stag, Meta Change, Goth Bullet, Shafu, or anyone else of the like that's packing it, will absolutely and very easily take this bird down before she even has a chance to strike. As mixed parts, as a pure sets score though, even taking this into account, I still do very easily have to rate her as one of the much better event rewards that we've had up to date, and a very solid 8 out of 10. Having Pile on all 3 parts, even if it is redundant, honestly is very forgivable, given that Pile is a conventional melee skill. I'd honestly say it's very similar to having, say, triple sword, or even in some cases maybe like triple claw, depending on the situation. It's conventional and it's well-rounded, so you really can't ever go wrong with having more than one of those. Plus, because of the passive defense ignore, she is more likely to be breaking things more often than just prepping a part with a starting blow, and anything she does break, she adds to her base power, which makes her even more aggressive on the field. As mixed parts, for these very same reasons, I very easily have to rate her a 9 out of 10. She is very flexible because none of her parts are heavy, so you can fit them anywhere. She has moderately good mobility and evade if you are willing to forgive her very low resist stats, and Bloodstain with Pile is a very good combo. Even if you decide not to use them together, even having just one of these parts raised just for the sake of having them on hand for a conventional melee part is something that you can generally never ever go wrong with using, and is a very worthwhile investment in the long run.